Welcome to the Open Books Podcast, where we discuss all things going on in the real estate industry, helping you take the road less traveled to real estate success, guiding you to the top 10%. I am one of your co-hosts, Curtis Haddock, alongside my co-host, Casey Tudor and Brooke Massey, and we have a special guest here with us today, none other than the one and only Ben Michaud. Ben, welcome.
Hey, glad to be here and talk to you guys.
Well, Thanks for coming, man.
I'm glad that you took the time out of your busy schedule to get here.
How do you say your last name?
It's Michaud. It's French.
How many people?
It's French? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I like that.
He's silent.
Yep. We will put his name in the
Michaud.
In the below comment section, so you guys can see how it's spelled. How often do people mispronounce your name?
It's all the time. In fact, I've only had it pronounced twice correct. The first time when I was in Montreal and then in Maui.
I was going to say, were they French?
Yeah.
Which that was probably like French descendants where you were.
How'd you go to those places? What are you doing? Like converting expireds or something?
Yeah, all the way up there.
Checks. And,
but no, it's like Smith on the East Coast, but here it's not very popular.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Michaud's popular in the East Coast.
At least your last name's not Tudor. Everyone messes
Coast?
that up, and it's easy.
Yeah, Tudor
Well,
is
it's like
proper.
Well, it is, but it's not.
Tudor? It's
Yeah, but
it's French too, I believe.
Really?
But no, I don't know. I'm making stuff up.
People always. My last name is Massey, and they always call it Macy, and I'm like, that is not how you spell Macy.
I can see that.
I mean,
I'm like,
I
literally.
get called Cassie a lot.
You get called.
Like at fast food
I can
places
see that.
when they ask. Yeah.
Cassie Tudor.
You guys don't even want to know what I get called.
Curtis Haddock.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. It's like you had to say it, and then it's like, oh,
Let's
enough
just say
said.
it's French for other reasons. It's not. It's really,
That's the bad French. Excuse my French.
it's really not French. I think it's German, actually.
Oh well.
Those darn
Oh well.
Germans. Okay.
Well, today.
I was going to try to think of some German words, but I don't remember any.
Oh gosh, not that clever. Well, today
What are we talking about?
we're going to talk about expireds, and that's one of the main reasons why we have Ben on here, because he's kind of the expired king.
He's pretty good at converting them, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Expires. What do we need expires for, man? Those are dumb. I don't want to do expires.
Yeah, Ben, just tell us,
Yeah.
what do you like about expired?
Nobody wants anything that's expired.
Everybody.
Hey, I have a lot of things I could say about that, but
I know. I was just thinking that goes in handy for you.
oh yeah, no, my wife hates it because I check the expiration date on everything, and I can't help it.
I do too.
I
and
can't
didn't
help
It's
even-
just a suggestion,
No, it's not.
That's what April says, and it pisses me off because I'm like,
unless it's meat.
because I'm like, I'm the one who's going to get sick if I eat. Like, I'm like,
If-
you take a bite first.
If it's a Twinkie, I mean those things last for like 20 or 30 years.
But that just tells you how much preservatives that we
it's
put
bad.
in our food.
It's bad.
No.
So this episode is going to be about genetic modified ingredients
and expired foods.
and expired foods.
I could probably have a whole podcast
GMOs.
series on let's talking about food.
So do you clean out your fridge like every week? What?
Yeah,
like,
Brittany makes me do it.
Brittany makes you do it,
Yeah.
or you don't do it on your own?
I mean, pretty much, but it's just one of those things that you kind of forget about, and then it's like you open and you're like, oh shit.
But, I was thinking that you were the one because since you are the one who like looks at the date, you're always looking at the date.
Oh,
to make
I
sure,
do it
right?
because I like when I clean out the fridge, like I look at everything.
I
and
do
I
it
check all the dates.
once I discover something's expired, then I go through all the bottles.
Oh no! If I clean it, I'm looking at everything. I pretty much know
Okay,
when
is
my
there-
ketchup's going to expire.
Is there anything that like if it said? Now there's a difference. This is totally off topic, but there's a difference between like a sell by date and
Yes.
and a like a
Best Buy date.
and a Best Buy date.
100%. 100%.
And so why? So talking about expireds,
Mm-hmm.
why would they put a sell by date but not a use by date on a product?
Because there actually is an expiration date with the ones that have a sell by date. So the sell by date is just giving the retailer telling them when they can sell it by.
Well, I knew that, but as a consumer, when I'm at home and I see the sell by date. I'm like, okay, well, it's not fresh anymore, but when does this thing expire and grow mold?
Call the store and ask.
I know what those
because I don't like that. So whenever I was in the grocery store, like the sell by date that's what we use as the expiration date.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's like fresh goods and stuff like that for the most part.
Yeah.
So like if we got that close, then we're marking it down if it's a day before,
right,
and trying to blow it out.
I know what they do. They go get the old meat, they take it back to the room, and they put some fresh meat on top of it.
That is they actually used to do that.
They used to, or they still?
They do not do that anymore. There is a certain grocery store that I do not buy meat from that does do some things like that. They'll take old meat that's, instead of marking it down a day before, they'll take it and they'll put seasoning on it and then put it out there for another 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's gross.
And it's like a special.
Yeah, and then the seasoning is all gross. Yes, and they'll do like the buy 5 for $25, and it's like all cool, and it's like, you know, all the grill stuff. You get kebabs and everything, and it's really just all old meat seasoned.
Friends, that's the meat you get.
Yeah. Now, not all grocery stores do that. So like,
which one is that?
I'm not gonna do that. It's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one. It's not Homeland, I'll tell you that.
It's Crest. I know it is.
She can neither confirm nor deny that it's Crest. Brooke, give us a wink if it's Crest. Stare at us if it's not.
There's also other grocery stores besides those two.
Well, obviously. Okay.
Anyways,
we are talking about
expired homes.
Sorry.
How about what is an expired house?
Yeah. Well, actually, we were telling why are expireds even
cool.
why do we even care about expired listings, man?
Yeah, I mean, expireds are, a very, very good opportunity. I mean, because they already had their home listed on the MLS, the market. It didn't sell. And so if you're a new agent or an agent in general that's prospecting, trying to get business, the numbers are staggering on expired listings. I mean, 37% will relist with maybe the same agent within the 45, 60 days. And even the closer to 40% of expireds are going to relist with a new agent. So it's low-hanging fruit. It's low-hanging fruit, to be honest. Exactly.
Yeah. Why are they expired? Like, why are they good?
Sat on the shelf too long.
It's different than grocery expired. So these are the expireds you want to go for.
Do you think
there could still be some diamonds in there?
Do you think that part of the reason for all of your success is because of your sultry voice?
Ooh.
I don't know. What do you think?
Possibly.
Let our podcast listeners tell us.
Yeah. What do you think of Michaud?
This is Late Night Talk with Ben Michaud.
Yeah. Dr. Love.
Are you about to expire? Give me a call.
Well, I mean, and really, expireds are good because one of the things is realtors, they've agreed to work with an agent, already pay a commission. They just didn't have anybody service them and do the right job for them. And quite honestly, in my opinion,
is that always the case?
The case about what?
That they didn't have an agent that provided good service, and that's why it expired?
It's not always the case, but I mean, typically we all know majority of why expired listings don't sell price.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the realtor wasn't honest up front, and we all know the realtors.
I was going to say that does go back to the realtor. I mean, if it didn't sell because of price, then that agent did a poor job of being upfront with the homeowner. And homeowners don't realize this. I mean, if a homeowner is interviewing agents to list their house for the first time, and I'm sitting here being honest with the seller about the price, and here's what we need to do to get it sold. And then you got some agent in here who comes in and says, "Yeah, we can sell for $50,000 more, this and that." And sometimes they'll either deliberately do that to get the listing, or the owner's the one who's driving the price, and they think it's worth $50,000 more, and they just want somebody to confirm that. And an agent is not skilled enough to have that conversation and tell the owner why they're wrong. And so then the owner ends up going with the agent who is less experienced, or
and that's how you just
agrees with them.
List homes and not sell homes.
Correct. Yeah. And it does a disservice to everybody. It's a disservice to you as an agent, because now you look like inexperienced to other realtors when they're showing the homes and they're looking at how you priced it. You now have a listing that there's a good chance you aren't going to sell. Now, I mean, business is business, and we're all competing for business. And so I could see this being a strategy for some people because you still get sign calls. And so you could pick up buyers off, just, go get listings. Even if they're not going to sell, you can pick up buyers off of it. But number two is that seller eventually is going to have to, if they want to sell it, they're going to have to drop the price. They might as well drop it with you already having it listed it, and not, instead of having to, they're not going to want to go through the trouble of relisting it with somebody else. So I can see, but I think that's just it's a dishonest business practice if you do it that way.
Don't promise somebody something.
Well, don't promise them anything ever.
I never do that. Even price.
My thing is, I show them. We look at the comps together. We come to an agreement. Now, I had someone say, "I'm sorry, but this is what I want," and so I told them. I said, "Okay, well, we were probably going to have a hard time selling it. I'm just letting you guys know up front." So 2 weeks into our listing and you called me and say, "Hey, why isn't this selling?" We're going to go back to this conversation right here immediately. So that's another expectation.
So you're setting expectations
so
properly.
So this one that I did that with just recently, we're actually closing today. They wanted $20 a square foot higher than the comps allow in their neighborhood. They're wanting new construction price, and it was an existing home. It was only a year and a half old.
Yeah.
And then it was not really what people wanted. It's not what, it's like gray walls, and everyone wants white now. Anyways, we weren't getting much activity at all, and on the 66th day, we get a full price offer, and the buyer's bank allowed them to waive the appraisal.
Oh wow!
Oh my God!
So that's like you got lucky.
And this is in my neighborhood, so now we have a comp that's $20 a square foot higher than anything sold. So that's why it's like, it was that right buyer.
Why did the? But that's what owners are hoping for. They hear stories like that. Thanks a lot, Casey. Now every owner is going to say, "Hey, I'm going to find that buyer."
That's a big risk.
I always it is because it's follow the data.
Their house need to sell it for some reason.
Before we go on, why did the bank waive the appraisal? Was there a down payment large or something? That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
So
conventional loan, they put enough down.
It has to be at least 50% down normally for a bank to waive the appraisal.
And I mean that price point. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was a pretty high price point for for someone to bring that much money down to get a appraisal waiver.
Yeah. Which, as buyers out there, no matter how much money you have, spend the $500-600 to get the appraisal, because that just costs you $20 a foot extra by getting it waived.
And I don't know. I don't know if the realtor ran comps before putting the offer in or what.
Some people, a lot of people don't.
Does it matter? Because yes, no, it always matters who's involved. That's when it matters, is when someone has a problem, because if they saw the house and they're like, "Hey, we love it. Sure, 395 is great. Let's get moved in and move down the road." They didn't even ask for a repair. And not that there's many to be had, but they were super easy the whole time.
They just didn't care. They just wanted this house. It sounded like let's go.
And that's the kind of buyers I want for my sellers.
Right. Well,
I was gonna say, let's kind of go back to a little bit more about expireds. Let's talk about the process and how, so our audience can kind of take it with them, if they will. Kind of what's your first step been when you're like, all right, I'm gonna do some expired calls.
We're gonna teach you guys how to get yourself some expired listings.
So what do you do? What's your special technique?
Team,
yeah, absolutely.
Call them at 405. Just kidding.
405 Ben Me Show.
Obviously.
Ben Me Show.
You got to have the list of expired. So, at Bricks.
Where's the list?
How do you get that list?
Well, you can go on the MLS and run, how many properties expired in the last week. But luckily at Bricks, we have a list that the brokerage provides here. That
sounds like a nice brokerage.
Yeah, I mean, these are true leads that have the best conversion rate in the industry.
Hot to the touch.
Yeah, hot to the touch.
I love those.
But just identifying the list, and then setting aside the time each day to start prospecting and making the calls.
How much time a day do you prospect?
I mean, when I'm doing what I need to do, it's 3 hours is the time that I really need to be doing each day.
Now, is that 3 hours of new prospecting time, or does that include your follow-up time and things like that?
Yeah, usually I set aside an hour for sub owners, an hour for expireds, and then I also, I'm sure we'll talk about this, but what I do is I have folders, and so if I've called the expired, I haven't reached them, I put them in the folder expired, not contacted. And if I have a seller nurture while I've been talking to them, so the third deal will be the follow-up. I dedicate some time for following up to people I haven't been able to reach or that are in my pipeline that I'm trying to nurture.
And Ben, how long have you been in real estate?
I've been in real estate since, it all goes together because of all the COVID and all that, but about 2018.
2018. So how many years is that?
6 years.
6 years?
Yeah,
I just wanted to point that out, that Ben prospects 3 hours a day, and he's been in the industry for 6 years. So it's just so important. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Everybody who sells houses prospects, right? I mean, obviously, the goal is to get to a point where you've built a referral-based business, and the people that have that, it didn't just magically appear and happen overnight.
Well, it should get easier too, because in the beginning everything is so new and uncomfortable, and the better you get at it, it can become natural, which means it's not as uncomfortable. And for someone like me, like if I'm not really calling for sale by owners and expireds, but I'm always talking to people about real estate.
Yeah.
Or people are asking me about it when I go out.
There's a level of prospecting that you always do.
Yeah. Well, your confidence goes up and
but it becomes more natural.
Yeah.
And almost like you don't even realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
Well, and also, the more success that you have, that you can go into a meeting now with all the confidence in the world that you come with experience. And if you're going to want to, if you want to get this thing sold, you need to use someone like me. If you're just looking for someone to be your yes person and agree with you, then I'm not your person, right? So you can start to approach conversations like that where when you're new, there's no way you would say to somebody, go to someone else if you want, or
maybe you should.
No, if you can, when you can confidently say that, you'll get business.
But your mindset,
seriously,
is get the deal at almost any cost, which is do what they want.
It's hard to be. I always say when you're desperate, it's hard to be in a mindset of not being desperate, but
having a mind of abundance.
You have to find a way to get into a producer confident mindset, regardless of whatever your experience and track record is.
I thought about this the other day. The challenge is that the public or your clients, really, they kind of see you as just in the way a lot of times. Like we're a gatekeeper to getting their household, and they have to use us. And so, therefore, they don't really want to hear anything you have to say. They have their own ideas. And then they go against all of your advice because they know better. And, I mean, really, that's the hardest part, I feel like, is trying to get them to understand that you are helping them.
And trust them,
And you're bringing value to the table.
So, therefore, being the picking up expireds, I feel like, is nice because they may have already realized that their approach didn't work.
Yeah.
And so Ricky Bobby was wrong.
If you're not first, you're last.
Right. No, if you're second,
you're first.
You're first.
Yeah.
And expired, absolutely. Yeah. I love that analogy.
Things just come to me. I just wake up in the morning and piss excellence.
Whoa.
That's another Talladega Nights.
Oh, gosh. That is true. Thank you, baby Jesus, for Casey Tudor.
Okay, so you find the list, right? What are ways to get the list? You said you could get it off the MLS. Okay, you get it off the MLS, and I know at Bricks provides the list so that people can make the calls, and I know that they scrub the do not call list. Let's make that disclaimer too. So those are the only numbers that show up on that list. But let's say you're at a brokerage that doesn't provide that for you. You download everyone that has MLS access can get a list of expireds.
No matter where you're at.
Right. But that doesn't give you who the owner is, doesn't give you their phone number.
So how do you find that?
How are people going to actually be able to make the calls if they're somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, in that scenario, a lot of times you got to pull. There's data providers that everybody knows about in the industry that provide prospect.
Don't plug any of them because they're not paying us a dime. So don't plug them.
Yeah. But they provide for sale by owners, expireds, and they have basically the phone numbers. They've done their job on the do not call list. Who are the owners? And typically, you get with each. So you buy a list, basically.
Yeah, so it could cost you money. And if you're one of those data providers and you want us to plug your name, you could sponsor this episode.
Absolutely.
Future episodes anytime you want.
And I'll talk about you just as much as I do McDonald's.
Yeah.
Dang it, Brooke. They don't pay us yet.
I'm looking for Rain. I'm looking for a Rain Red Dragon
Casey,
sponsorship.
what the heck?
Hey, you know what? We're just gonna use their names
Yeah.
and piggyback on them. And then we're gonna be rich. And then I'm just kidding.
They're gonna notice like what is that? We can't say. I don't want to say the date, but on this day, they're gonna be like, "Wow, our sales really went up." You know, whenever we release this episode,
it's all because of this Open Books
And the 1,000
podcast. Like,
comments.
what is this?
yeah, well, we'll plug your name again if you shell out some dough. Anyways, you buy a list.
Yeah,
Basically,
so,
right? I mean,
yeah.
and how much are those lists? How much does it cost?
I mean, like they can run anywhere from $200 to $300+ a month, depending on they have other things in there that kind of you get a package, if you will,
Sure.
for other prospecting things, and a lot of times they throw in dialers and stuff, but they're not cheap. So yeah, you get the list, and that's the best. And I don't know that the way you just pull it on the MLS. You don't.
Well, most
like
people are
you
doing
said,
mailers too, right? And
Yeah.
that's expensive as well.
Well, $200 a month is $2,400 for the year. I mean, even if you sold a
Converted one.
$150,000 house, you got your money back.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
So I always like
Big
to think
commercial.
about things like that, and it kind of motivates me too.
Yeah, and I
yeah.
think that you do have to think like that because obviously in business you spend money to make money, and you got to be smart with how you're spending it. But I think a lot of people, but going back to our episode of the mindset of scarcity, like I think people when they start spending money, they think that they're losing, and so it causes them to not go full force ahead to try to make it happen. You have to believe that what you're spending your money on, you better back it up with the action so that you can get the results. If you don't take action,
100%.
just buying a list of expireds does not get you expired listings.
No.
So please know, if you're going to go spend money on expired listings, you're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to make the calls. You're going to have to follow up with people, have some sort of system in place, whether it's like Ben uses the folder system. We have CRMs that you can use, but you definitely want to track it as you start making calls.
Organized. Always be organized.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well,
so
what about? Were you going to ask another question about finding him? I was going to move on to the call.
I was going to say, so after you have the list,
let's call him.
Now you got to call him, right? So
what do you say?
Do you want to share
So
like the
scary.
script that you use to call expireds? You want to role play?
I was going to say the same thing.
Do it.
on the spot.
Do it.
Who wants to be? I
I'll
want
let
to
you
be.
two.
You're a good role player. I can't role play.
I'll
Why
let you
not?
two go.
I'm just not good at it.
Well,
Ring,
okay.
ring.
Hello.
Ben's calling.
Hello. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Ben. I'm a
Ben.
local real estate agent. Before you hang up, I'm going to ask you a question.
What's your question?
Yeah, I was looking at the house on 123 Main Street, and I just didn't know had you sold it, or I saw it came off the market. Do you sell it privately, or is it still available to market to my network? The buyers.
No, I didn't sell it. And what do you mean it's expired? What does that mean?
Oh, so your realtor, your agent didn't tell you that. We're getting, and all other realtors, by the way, you're probably going to get bombarded by calls. So this is showing them the expired listing.
I have
today.
been getting a bunch of calls. I'm sick and tired of you realtors calling. Why are you calling me specifically?
Yeah, no, I don't blame you for getting all these calls and getting upset. I wouldn't want to talk to these realtors either. But I'm just curious, I'm trying to figure out why it didn't sell. It looks like a great home, and why even sell it to begin with?
It is a great home. That's why I live here. I don't know why it didn't sell. I didn't even know that it had expired, as you say. But we've had a lot of interest. What's so funny, sir? How did you get in on the phone call?
It's funny. I tapped your line, bro. I'm quality assurance.
You didn't tell me this call was being
It's
recorded.
funny. It's funny because you said that I had no idea it was expired, but you also said a bunch of realtors have been calling you.
Yeah, but I don't know why they're calling me. That's why I'm upset.
Ben, get the
So what'd they
appointment.
say?
Get the appointment.
So what they
Yeah.
say?
He's weak. Goes for the throat.
Yeah.
You said Curtis was good at this.
Okay,
But
redo.
those people will say crap like that.
For sure.
So before I was rudely interrupted, okay,
I'm going to stay on the line to make sure everything.
Quality assurance.
We'll have to separate them and get their own couches later.
Yeah, well, they're leaving me messages. This is the first time I've answered the phone. If you really want to know, quality assurance guy, okay. I'm getting a bunch of messages from realtors, and what does expired even mean? I don't know, but I'm sorry. Who am I talking to?
Check my refrigerator.
Get the appointment, Ben. Go.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know why it didn't sell. I mean, you're the expert. Why did my house not sell?
I mean, I guess my question would be, when your agent is updating you each week, what were they telling you? What kind of feedback were you getting? Showings? What were potential buyers saying? That's how you kind of.
Man, I've talked to my agent like 3 times this whole process.
You put the sign in the yard, and I never heard from him again.
I mean,
so you basically haven't had a lot of communication, and you've been on the market.
Well, that's how you agents are. You just you stick a sign in there and you leave.
Well, most agents, but my goal is not get a sign in the yard, but actually get the property sold, and that's why expireds, are a good avenue to get listings and business.
So if you're so good at selling properties, why did my house not sell when it was listed there?
Well, yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, where are your buyers then?
What I'd like to do is, when are you going to be looking to interview agents to finally actually get it sold this time? I'd love to come out and show you a different plan that I'm using to get buyers to compete for homes and not staying on the market. If that's something you're interested in.
Agents,
this is good.
Interview agents. I mean, it's like you guys haven't read our own script here.
Did we put that together?
Actually,
Ben, this is like you're on the phone with a married couple.
Yeah, trust me.
There's this voice in my head that keeps popping up on my shoulder.
It's when you're we used to have the landlines, and you'd like pick up the phone, but hold the little button down, and then you'd pick the phone up to your ear, and then you like quietly release the. And then
What are
my
you
sister
talking about?
goes,
Yes.
Casey,
get off the phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
I know you're there.
Yeah.
You're like, dang it! I thought I could, because you hear.
Okay, I'll go a different route. I'll just unplug it from the wall.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Doing that
Good
to my
times.
siblings.
Good
That was
times.
Well, let's just talk about the call in general.
So the call in general, basically, what the script that Ben uses is the script, one of the scripts that we teach, and when with expired, you really are. I mean, you're trying to get an appointment with them, but you want to set it up as a way for you to come out and tell them and show them how you can get their home sold, not just list their home, but get it sold. And I like to start with the same way that Ben starts with, and I know a lot of coaches out there that have scripts, they start their calls like this as well. But hey, before you hang up on me, do you mind if I share with you or ask you one quick question? And also try to call them by name too, because you have their list and you have their name, regardless of whether you've met them, talked to them before. It might be uncomfortable at first, but it makes it a little bit more like when someone calls me and they call me by name. The one risk, if you were calling me and my first name showed up, you'd be calling me by my legal first name, and I would know immediately. We weren't going to share that, I would know immediately that they don't know me,
right?
So that is a risk.
That happens.
But most people, it's not like that, and I'm not a jerk when that happens. I usually will tell them, I go by Curtis or whatever. But if I was calling Ben, I would say, hey Ben, before you hang up on me, do you mind, me asking you a quick question? And most of the time, they're not going to just hang up. They're going to be like, what do you want? Or, yeah, sure, go ahead. And then you can get into the actual script. And I really like the very first parts, asking them, listen, I'm looking at a list of homes right now. I saw that yours came off the market recently. Did you pull off the market because you got it sold, or is it still available for me to sell to my network? Mm-hmm. Because you're immediately getting to the question at hand of, are they still willing to sell it?
Yes.
Right? Because we already know that it expired. That doesn't mean that they sold it. And if they did sell it, it would have sold with the agent that had it listed, right?
Yes.
And so we're
but
trying,
they don't know that.
No, but we're trying to find out again, are they open to still selling it, or are they did they pull it off the market because they're not getting a job transfer anymore? Two totally different situations.
100% agree.
And so after that, I immediately go into what Ben goes into. I want to get more information about what they think about their property and why it didn't sell. Like, by chance, why did this house not sell?
Ask them their feelings.
Yes.
So because they have feelings, because they're probably already mad and frustrated because their home didn't sell.
Get them talking, you listen, okay? Right. If you could get them to talk themselves into why they need to,
then don't say a damn word
with you, then that's what you want. That's the goal. And you do that by asking good, open-ended questions.
Good questions. That's what I was going to say, because you can say, are you still wanting to sell it? They're like, they don't really know what that means.
Is your property still for sale?
Well, and a lot of people are weird on the phone. So if you ask me that, I'm like, yes.
Well, or they're just like, they're thinking like, why are you asking?
No.
But if you would say, hey, would you be, if I had a potential buyer for you, even in the near future, would you be interested in entertaining an offer?
Yeah, I just need to know if this is something I can keep on my list of inventory, so I can sell it to my network, and you'll find out really quickly if they're still selling it or not. But more importantly than that, I mean, obviously they need to be selling their house still, but I really want them talking about, like what Brooke said, their feelings behind why did this not sell. It's because you want to figure out their pain points, right?
Use
are
it
they
to your
mad
advantage.
at the agent? Like, and I like how Ben brought it into, like, well, when he assumed that the agent was doing their job. When you're getting weekly updates from your agent, what were they telling you? Because I was like, I don't know why my house didn't sell. He went, and I really liked him saying, well, what did your agent tell you when they called you once a week?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of agents are probably not doing that. And I know Brooke and we went to this panel a couple weeks ago, and one of the top listing agents there talked about, they have like 50 something listings. They call every single one of them on Monday, every single one personally. And you got to do that. Every listing you have to follow up and give them an update on their house. I don't care if this update is the same. We got one, how many showings did you have? What did people say with the showing? And what's the strategy going forward? And the strategy could be keep it the same. We're going to keep going.
I like to pull just a quick comp and have active pendings and solds in the area. That way they know, like, because I'll say, look, the other 8 listings that are in your neighborhood are still for sale as well. Yeah. You're not the only one.
Set up a search for yourself. Every time you get a listing, you should set up a search for that neighborhood where that listing is, so that you get notified of 3 things. Every time a new listing comes on the market, every time a listing changes from active to pending, and every time a listing changes from pending to sold, you now get notified. And so when you're thinking like, what do I say in my updates, my weekly updates? Well, you now will have information. You will be being told, as soon as it happens, when things in that. Now, if you had 50 something listings, you might have to pull it up still, but you're at least being notified. So
and you can use that. I love it, because you can totally use that to your advantage too, depending on everything. Because I always tell everyone, okay, well, here's the data. Here's what I think your house will sell for. However, I always say this: the market changes on a daily. Yeah. So we never know until we get on the market. So if you're setting that kind of expectation, then doing all of that, you never know when something else comes on the market and it's active. Well, now that's your active competition for your listing. Is it nicer? Is it better? We got to kind of look at that. Did something go pending? Did something close? Use that to help you too if you need to do a price drop and get someone to listen to you.
So that you get them talking, and man, get them talking as long as you possibly can. To me, this is way different than a FSBO call. A FSBO call, they don't want to be on the phone with you. You're an agent, so we want to try to get the appointment as quickly as possible. On that's just how we teach it. I know a lot of people will treat these calls very, very similarly and try to get a listing immediately, but with an expired, you're trying to get them to agree to meet with you to list the property. So if you can get them talking and opening up again about their pain points, and then if you can ask them questions about those pain points, but to the point where you are asking it in a way where they are answering the question, but they're answering it to where it's like they're telling themselves, oh, you are going to be the one to be able to do this. They are now convincing themselves as why they need to let you come over for a meeting. Because
most realtors go out there and they'll sell things to people and they just talk.
Yes.
But if you go in and you're asking questions and you're listening and you're understanding, them, then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, even if you just answer questions, even if you don't have any education and you're new, just asking questions goes a long way.
A long way. Well, hey, Ben, if I would say I like the question that you did say. Well, so when do you plan on interviewing the right agent to get your property sold? They answer the question and all that. Okay, well, when you meet that right agent, what do you expect to hear from them? Like, what are you looking for in that agent?
It's kind of it's like not creating doubt, but it's creating their wheels, I guess, to turn.
Yeah, and you're getting them to tell you their plan, that their house is, that they're still wanting to sell their house, why it didn't sold, what their plans are, what they expect out of the agent, and they're telling all of these things to you. Okay, you're the one who got them to open up and get and reveal all this information. So in their mind, they now have an expectation set of, well, I shared this with this person, so they now get me and they know what I'm looking for and they know what I want. So I can trust this person because I don't want to have to go tell a ton of people again everything I need out of an agent and what I want. I've done that, and I'm doing it with you. You're going to be my person. It's like they're setting the expectation with you now.
Yeah.
And it's prime now for you to now try to schedule an appointment to come over and talk to them about how you can alleviate them from the pain points that they're experiencing.
Yeah, Ben, what do you say to get into the house? Like, how do you get the appointment?
Yeah, no, I think to reiterate what you just said, I agree with all that. You're uncovering pain and motivation on the phone. Do you still have to sell? Do you want to sell? Why? Motivation is critical, because if they tell me, if this sells for X amount and I don't sell it, no big deal. But if they say, I'm downsizing, I'm moving away, I'm getting divorced, I know they have clear motivation. Yeah. But what I say is, hey, I know you've talked to a lot of agents, but, I specialize in expired listings. What I like to do is just come by, show you my plan and how I do things differently. And then you can decide if working with me is an option or not. And if not, it's no big deal. I come from the standpoint of I'm not the agent for everyone, and I'm going to be, like we talked about, honest up front. Mm-hmm. If you're not willing to price this at market value and just overprice it, I may not be the agent for you because I'm not doing you justice. So I go through, hey, let's just spend 30, 45 minutes showing you my plan. Obviously I get the important information, what they own the house, what they're going to net based on what we sell it for. But I just spend my time going over. I do the same thing that everybody talked about. I do an active listing analysis. You think what sold, what hasn't in the last whatever amount of weeks. But really just set up, the ultimate goal on the phone is to get an appointment and get in front of them. And
what did you say? I'm just totally kidding.
I was like,
anybody who's not watching on YouTube, that won't be funny to them. So I'm just getting people to go watch us on YouTube.
Oh,
I'm not going to tell them why. It's funny.
Okay. Well, I won't tell you what he did.
Is cracking up right now, though.
Yeah. Totally. Well, let's move on to more of like did you have something?
Well, my question, maybe this is where you're going to go, but my question is, why do you need to go to their home if you don't have a buyer right now?
I mean, I'm very clear. This definitely in the FISBO mindset is expired. I want to get the listing. I'm asking them, if you like what I have to say and we come meet and I show you my plan, are you going to be willing? Are you ready to list? And if the answer is yes, then I'm going over there with
if the answer is no.
If the answer is no, I'm evaluating if they're truly motivated, or if it makes sense to meet now versus later. But if they're wanting to get this house listed and back on the market, that I'm going in there with the mindset that this is my listing to take, and obviously I got to do a good enough job.
One thing I really enjoy about Ben's phone calls, and by the way, what I appreciate Ben because he allows the agents at our brokerage to listen to him make expired calls every single week.
Well,
and I appreciate that, but so if you ever want to hear him make calls,
and our coaching platform, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was going to say that's what I was getting at. So if you're interested in hearing him call, let us know, and we can get you in so you can listen to him make calls. But what I really like about him when he's on the phone, when I listen to him, is that he doesn't just take no for an answer, or like them saying that they're not ready to list, or that whenever he gets an objection, he pushes. I mean, not like in a
just ask questions.
Yes, he just asks questions. He tries to keep them engaged on the phone, and there are times where you're like, oh man, this is a little uncomfortable even for me, because man, he's still going. It's very clear they want to get off the phone, but if he wasn't like that, then he wouldn't get the ones that he did. So even if you get hung up on every once in a while or don't get the appointment, always practice asking questions, keeping people on the phone regardless of whatever objection they give you, unless it's just like we've pulled our house off the market because we're not selling anymore.
Yeah,
correct. If they're not going to sell anymore, then
no reason waste time.
Yeah,
kind of like
expired.
Yeah, what I
sell
like
by
to
date
use,
and it just didn't sell.
Yeah. I mean, I like to know people in advance, and I always call it going for the no. I want to know if somebody was not going to do business with you, I'd ask the three of you, would you want to know now or in 60 days?
Oh, 60 days for sure. I'm kidding.
No. I was like, no, I like to know things now.
Yeah, I'd rather not. We're not going to be able to help everybody. We got to go through these lists, go through the script. The goal is to get the appointment in front of them, and we're not going to be able to help everybody that we talk to, so we need to weed through and get to the ones that are good appointment opportunities and get to the appointments.
That's what I want to kind of move on to. Let's move on to the follow-up and appointment, because I know this can be interchangeable specifically with expired. So I want to ask you, Ben, if you have a good conversation but you don't get the appointment, what do you do with it?
What I try and do is I try and weed it down into 3 folders, like we just talked about.
So your folder system.
Yeah. Okay, is this a hot lead? I'm looking to sell within the next day or whatever. Or the warm lead would be 30 days plus. So what I try and do...
So you probably get a lot of that with expireds, right? Like they're probably burnt out, maybe reconsidering, maybe doing updates or
I'm going to wait
something.
to put on the market in a month or two. So what I do is I try to call them every week. Now, if they say I'm 2 months out, I cut it in half and call them in a month. Let's just say, hey, they're going to be relisting. I didn't get the appointment. My standard protocol is like, if it's, let's say it's Thursday, I call them next week. I always call them next week. They don't remember who I am most of the time. So I'm always going for that appointment.
Makes sense.
If we don't get it on the phone call, hey, it's Ben with Bricks Realty. We talked last week. Would it make sense for us to maybe get together now? Or have you trying to dig and uncover what they're trying to do? And most likely, like we talked about, the statistics don't lie. Most expired listings will relist.
What percentage of them in total? Whether I don't care if it's with their last agent or a new agent. What percentage? What percentage?
I would say at least 60% relist.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit more than that. I don't have the exact facts to back it up, but majority of expireds will relist.
So somebody's getting that business, and you got to be relentless and go after it. And like I said, the reason you push on the phone is because sometimes they're just trying to get off the phone, and there's a lot of ways to get the business, but just being passive isn't one of them.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love that you have the folder system and you shared that with everyone, because I think a lot of people might have the mindset of they just call the new expireds every day and just call once, and then they didn't get the appointment, it's over. Yeah. And it's like, that's not the case, because if you do that, then you're kind of limiting yourself. If you have a folder that has even 20 papers in it of follow-ups, I mean, that's 20 possibilities of people you've already had a warm conversation with. Of now, if you're calling again, now you're just even getting closer to that appointment.
Yeah, and then you hit upon another thing too, though. Most of the time, we're not going to reach them on the phone. It's going to take multiple calls during the day. It's kind of like you call them at least 3 or 4 times that first day, 5.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, like, let's just say we call them at 11 or 10 o'clock. Well, man, they could be working too. So if you don't reach them then, you got to call them in the evening. But you really just got to be relentless on calling them, because you're not going to reach everybody the first time you call them.
Yeah.
So you have to have that mindset that, I got a listing last year that I called 11 times. I finally got a hold of them.
So
that's crazy. 11 times.
Before you got a hold of them, That's not even follow-up. No. That's 11 times before he even got him to answer the phone. But you noticed that it was still listed, right? We're talking about expired.
Yeah.
It hadn't been listed yet, right? And so at what point would you say you would give up on unexpired?
I mean, I kind of think we talked about, I don't give up on expired listings unless they just say, hey, I would never do business with you. Or
I'm talking about if they don't answer.
How many times are you going to call?
Oh, if they don't answer, I'll keep calling until I don't.
Savage.
You got to keep calling.
Even if your list builds up to 1,000, if it builds up to 1,000, you'll keep calling every single one until.
Well, I mean, you call them a certain amount of times, and if you don't reach them, they kind of go down to the bottom of the pile. I don't leave a voicemail, no.
Why? What is your strategy behind that?
I mean, I don't really think, if they say you're a realtor calling them, you're either not being honest. Like if you leave a voicemail, hey, I'm interested in the house.
Well, you can't do that because it's not a FSBO, right? I mean, their house was listed and now it's not, and their agent was handling all the calls. So now all of a sudden, if they're getting calls, it's not like buyers are going to start reaching out to them. So I do think it's different than with the for sale by owner.
That's true.
Have you ever do expired listings ever turn into for sale by owners?
I mean, I've had lately a lot of people that expired and they got tired of dealing with agents, not doing what they're going to say they're going to do, and then they just talk about going
I can just do it myself.
And they don't know what they're getting into, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot. That has been pretty common.
Do you flip it into the FSBO script at that point?
Yeah, kind of what I do is like, I understand that makes sense. If you decide to do that, how long are you going to try and do that before you look at other options? They'll find out real quick that, they didn't have the right agent.
They're just
going
to have more realtors call them.
Yeah, it's not going to be
probably
good.
even more than when they expired, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's going for sub owner from expired.
I should have just listened to that Ben Michaud. I'll wait for his weekly follow-up call.
Monday.
I'll watch for his phone number. I'm going to answer.
What other points should we talk about as we are running out of time?
Yeah, the last one is really just the appointment itself, which I think is if you get the appointment,
at that point, it's just a listing
a listing appointment, right?
But I want to stress to you guys on the appointment, don't just take it for granted. Just because you get the appointment does not mean you're going to list that house,
because they could be interviewing other people too.
They could there's so many times where you call an expired, get an appointment, and they've invited 3 or 4 other people over the span of a few hours over to talk to you. So you have to come prepared. Treat it like you would treat any other listing appointment. Make sure that you run your comps, that you understand the neighborhood and the area that the house is in.
Look at the previous listing. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, and listing is a presentation is kind of it's a science and art, right? Because you're dealing with psychology, and then also how you're presenting it. Because I've heard of people saying like, "Oh, the last agent was in and out of here faster than he could," say, do you want to list? Basically, just comes in and says, "I'll do it for this percentage. We'll get it on the market in this amount of days,"
and that's it.
Or someone comes in with a well-scripted plan, but it's terribly executed, like they're just going through motion. So you kind of have to blend them. Like for me, it's kind of a laid-back approach, but yet I have to let them know that my presentation, everything we're going to talk about is important and we can't skip over anything.
Your presentation should be tailored to that appointment, because if you did that call correctly, you learned every single pain point that owner experienced with the last agent. It might have been just 1 or 2 things that they felt like
no open houses
caused it to not sell, right? You have to come prepared with why what you are going to do is going to not only do you need to come across as confident that you're going to get this house sold, okay? But you're going to take care of them in the process.
Right.
We talk about the psychology of our mindset and things like that. I always say that people, if anyone's ever done the Enneagram test, 60% of the population is like an Enneagram 6, which is they make decisions based off of fear, and they're just fearful. And I think fear, that's why the news is the way that it is. That's why when people try to sell you something, they try to sell you off of fear.
What are you gonna do when this happens?
Right. And it's very powerful if you are somebody who responds to fear, and so if you can overcome the fear that people have of can they trust you? How long is it going to take their house to sell? I mean, you can't guarantee, like, what's it going to sell for? Am I going to be able to get to my next place in time or whatever I need to get it for? Whatever the situation is, you can't guarantee anything, but you can go in there with the absolute, like, most confidence that you can possibly have and tell them that if they do the plan that you want to do, that there's a good chance that you will accomplish their goals together. And you got to kind of figure out people as you talk to them on the phone and match them where they are. Because not everybody is makes decisions off of fear, and if they're not that way, then you don't want to approach it. So try. That's why you want to have a conversation and learn about people and their pain points, so that you can tailor the presentation to meet their needs.
Yeah,
I love it.
Anything else, or we
would you rather? I mean, you know,
just we have been now.
Yeah.
Finally, we have someone who can contribute.
I got one. It's not the best one, but it's a good one. What would you rather have X-ray vision or be able to fly?
Fly.
That's an easy one. If Brooke can answer the dang question, then that's an easy one.
Fly.
I'd say fly too.
Yeah.
too.
No, because then you guys ask the hard ones, and then it's all completely situational.
If you say X-ray vision, I mean, aren't you like kind of like a perverted?
That's what I was gonna say. That's
No,
why I asked,
'cause
because I want one of you to say X-ray vision just so I could call you a pervert.
No, because X-ray vision means you see people's bones.
No, it means you can see through whatever you want to see through.
No, it's not limited.
Yeah, I can see through the wall, and I can
I'm
see.
gonna Google what
I can see
X-ray
them-
is.
I can see them having a
That's what an
conversation.
X-ray machine is, but when we're talking X-ray vision, that's what I.
But
see
yeah,
too.
if my kid falls and I have X-ray vision, I could look at his bone if I wanted to.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't really see a use for that other than I could save people money. That
Or you just want to see what's behind door number one.
right. And how often are we presented with door
I would be an
number one?
avid game shower
Right.
at that point.
Right.
I'll be on the Price is
Well,
Right.
you'd save time at a listing appointment
Let's
because you
make
could
a
just sit in
deal.
the kitchen and be like, "Yeah, you need to move that room around a little bit."
Yeah.
Oh, you just say it all confidently,
Yeah.
and they'd be like,
Wow, we got to hire
"This person knows my house so well. I have to list
Well,
with
now,
them."
can you see into people's minds to know what they're thinking?
I don't think I want to
No,
know that.
That's
I wouldn't want
My
that.
cancer
either.
feels would get
mind reading
sensitive.
power.
Yeah, because I would.
And I'd be like, "Why'd you think that about
That's
me?"
mind reading power.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I would definitely fly. That was an easy one. Okay, I have a would you rather.
Okay.
Ben didn't answer.
Yeah,
I
he
said
did. He said fly.
Oh, he
I
did.
I said
Wait,
fly.
did he not?
He was like a fly on the wall. He said it quick.
Okay. Well, this one's dumb. Never mind.
Okay, how about this? Would you guys rather do expireds or FSBOs as far as
Really?
Yeah, but that's a good question. It's real estate related, and they are
yeah.
they're
What's
they're
that
the
been?
two best ways to get listings. If you're new or you want more listings, those are the best ways to go get them. So, which ones would you guys rather do?
Okay, that wasn't exactly my question. Mine wasn't which one would you rather do. Mine was which one would you rather be able to succeed at be the best at.
Oh, I feel like it's kind of the same.
Yeah, I do too.
However you answer or ask that question.
I would say expireds because I want to deal with people that actually are okay with using agents in the beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
FSBOs are difficult.
Expireds are already used agents. They're trying to sell. They're probably still going to try and sell, and so that all day
FSBOs,
long.
I feel like FSBOs are easier to convert, but the reason why they're easier to convert is well, I don't know if I should say that they're easier to convert. You can convert more of them because you
Yeah.
can get a hold of more of them, and you have more opportunities to get in front of them.
Put your face in the world more.
Yes, but they're challenging because they don't respect you, and even when you convince them that they need to list with you, that respect carries or lack thereof carries over into the listing appointment, and it makes it challenging. And a lot of times, since they're not trying to pay a commission, you end up with some where you're not doing it for a full 6%. You might be doing it for 5% or whatever the case may be, and for sell by owners are just a challenge for that very reason. I would rather do expireds.
Oh, I'd do
Me
too.
expireds all day long.
Yeah.
Even
Ben?
the expired turned FSBOs. I like those too.
Easy.
Because then they're like,
we
I'm
gotta
like,
find
you
one
don't want to do
We
that.
gotta find one that Brooke doesn't want to answer. That's
Yeah.
when we know it's a
Well,
good would you rather.
you know what? They'll just have to come
That's
back
your
next week
guys'
to
like
find that
homework
out.
then.
Would you rather?
It's the one that it makes you think, and it's like completely situational. So it's like you can't just answer it.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, I don't know if we've asked this one on a podcast episode before, but I think we have. Would you rather? We'll see what Ben says to this. Would you rather be? Would you rather, your significant other, your spouse, your partner, whatever? Would you rather Would you rather them not be attractive to you, or you not be attractive to them?
Oh, we haven't asked that one.
We didn't?
No.
We've talked about this before. I just don't remember where it was. Ben?
I would rather.
Would you rather be the attractive one, or would you rather your partner be the attractive one?
Probably the partner.
Or your but
does that mean your partner has to sleep with you out of pity because they're not attractive?
I mean,
that's not attractive.
Physical attractive.
I'll take the pity.
They would be with you because they're attracted to your personality. If you're not physically attractive, they're not just with you out of pity. They're with you for a reason, right? I'm just saying that physically, you're not physically attractive to them, or they're not physically attracted. I agree.
Because I would say out of me and Claire, most people will probably say Claire's more attractive than I am.
I think everybody says that.
Right.
Well, she's a girl. Girls are naturally beautiful.
And men are more visual.
Women in general are beautiful creatures.
I'd rather be the busted one.
I would too.
Yeah.
I would rather my wife be the attractive one. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I like my wife.
Because if I'm not attractive, I could care less. I'm already with an attractive person.
That's right.
And it's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, game over. Got her.
But I have a brilliant personality.
Yeah, like what is she doing with him? Well,
we're subjectifying women right now, saying they have to be pretty.
Hey, I'll be fugly.
We don't have to.
But hey, you know what? That's personal choice. I feel like I would rather be the ugly one and make that sacrifice.
Yeah, we're not saying that they have to be pretty. I'm just saying that my significant other, I would, if I had the choice, I would rather be the ugly one.
Right.
I'd be the ugly one.
Ben?
Ben's like, hell no.
I probably would agree. I'd be the less attractive one. Be with the one that's attractive.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Okay, that was an easy question too then. Dang it. Okay.
No, I had to think about it.
Yeah, we had to think about it.
Okay, well. Anyways, I still feel like we bombed Would You Rather. So you guys give your answers at the bottom, and maybe give us some suggestions.
Tell us what you guys what you'd rather do.
We'll pick some of the
best.
We'll pick some of the best ones and ask them on our next episodes.
Yeah. Well, Ben, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. You really
thanks
gave
for having me. I appreciate it.
a lot of education today.
Yeah, can I just add one thing?
Yes.
No, it's
I'm always scared when you say that.
Yeah, just what I would tell people in a nutshell is just do the work every day, do the follow-up.
Every day.
You're going to get business, every day, and you're going to get more skilled as you get experience doing the scripts, the appointments. But if you're just in the game, doing the work, doing the calls, most people, even realtors, don't do that. You're going to have a step on everybody else, and you are going to get business.
Have you ever gone a full 2 hours of prospecting on FSBOs and expireds and had nobody answer the phone?
I've come very close. FSBO's not so much because they
pick up the phone.
They pick up the phone, but expireds, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't give up, right? You don't. I'm going to just stop calling. They're not answering their phone today.
You get that one call that'll be a great opportunity, and you didn't think you had it, and it's because you continued to grind when nobody else really wanted to.
My favorite FSBO voicemail is, "Hi, if you're calling about the property, blah, 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 you can leave a message and I'll get back with you. And if you're a realtor, you can F off."
Yeah.
They say that in so many words.
Yeah. I've heard
it's
something
hilarious.
like that. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, as we come to an end, just want to say thank you for listening. And if you like our content, please give us a like, subscribe, click the bell so you can get future notifications. We'll have more content coming your way. And feel free to leave a comment and always answer our Would You Rathers.
Stop it, Greg. Would you rather?
Well, you better come back next week to hear the Would You Rather.
Real quick.
Oh my God.
Would you, because it's on this, it's based on what you just said.
Okay.
Would you rather every viewer subscribe or every viewer like a video?
Oh, subscribe. Is that a real question?
It's a real question, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Signing off.
We're telling them to subscribe. That's what we'd rather you do. Come on now.
I'm Casey Tudor. This is Curtis Haddock, Brooke Matthews,
Thanks, guys.
and Ben Michaud.
Woo!